Why do you work on Mark Twain?
Oh my God, what a question. Gee. You stop. All right.
No.
I have to think about that.
Are we taking a picture of the front
No, I'm
door?
getting blindsided here. He's huge. His work touches nearly every aspect of American life. He's the one American author that can stand up in any kind of a cultural change of wind and temperature. He's going to be with us. It's a way in which the whole profession of literature can connect to the larger society. He's a wonderful quid pro quo for a dialogue of the country with itself.
Why do you work on Mark Twain?
Oh, I like Mark Twain just because he's got so many different facets to him. You can study every different part of him, from his humor to his family life to his views on art and architecture, and there's always something new.
Great. Thank
And that's
you.
even a true answer. How about
Yeah. Why do you work on Mark Twain?
Why do I
Work on Mark Twain.
work on Mark Twain? Because I just love Mark Twain. I like his character. I like his story. I like his writing. I like everything about it.
I love Mark Twain. Every time I see another book by another scholar, I learn something. There's always more to learn. It's just so interesting, intriguing. I'm coming out of this conference knowing that I don't know enough yet. I want to find out more.
Why do you work on Mark Twain?
He makes me laugh.
Is that enough?
Why do you work on Mark Twain?
Okay. Because I studied under three big names. So that's the practical answer. The second is it was more fun. Students like him. Everyone I know, my social circle knows who he is. I'm always talking about Mark Twain, so yeah, that's probably.
Why do you work on Mark Twain?
Why do I work on Mark Twain? Oh, come on, Matthew can't do that in 60 seconds. He repays the effort, though. Okay? Is that enough?
I love Twain's complexity, humor, likable person, holding the flag with the cowards, all of that appeals to me. And I have 3 daughters, so what else can I say? Is that a good job?
Why do you work on Mark Twain?
Because of his humor, of course, but as I was going along, he interests me because he's more alive. He was more alive than any person that I'm familiar with. His intelligence, his range of interest, his emotional gamut. So that's finally what for instance, I'm a heretic. I think Huckleberry Finn is a kind of a brilliant improvisation, kind of a ramshackle romp. But so what interests me is the spirit, the personality, and I appreciate being able to say so for posterity, even if it numbers only one eminent Mark Twain critic.
Oh, it's such a hard question, John. I should have asked it before the tape started running. I love his voice. I love his humor. But I also love his complexity and the contradictions and the paradoxes. So that's my answer. He's endlessly fascinating.
It's got me by the throat. There's nothing else I can do. That's why I can't talk very loud.
It's just the essence of my literary study. I liked him from the very first time I laid eyes on a page.
Why do you work on Mark Twain?
It's fun, engaging.
I think he's very funny and he's a great writer.
I work on Mark Twain because he makes laughter important. That's why.
Why do you work on Mark Twain? Because Mark Twain is fun to read, and thematically he's engaged with so many issues that are of interest to me, and also because I like working with Mark Twain scholars, with people who work on Mark Twain. And so I can get a lot of pleasures all bound together in working on Mark Twain.
Why do you study Mark Twain?
Well, he makes me laugh. That's a good reason. Kind of catching me off guard, John. I think he's very complex. I think he's very chameleon-like, and I think I initially got interested because he's just a great writer. You know, he's a great stylist. I like the way he writes. He's very funny. But then you get deeper and you find all this cultural criticism, and there's a lot of layers. So, how's that? Okay.
Why do you study Mark Twain?
It was a mistake. I never intended to, and John Gerber made me.
I work on Mark Twain because I can work and enjoy at the same time. That's part of it. The other part is that I just really like the things that he's written, and I like even more than Huck Finn. I mean, Huck Finn was all I knew when I started this, and the other stuff is so much, it's just so wonderful, I just can't seem to stop.
Why do you work on Mark Twain?
I work on Mark Twain because when I was a graduate student taking a course with Hamlin Hill in Mark Twain, my very first course as a graduate student, he suggested I read Hannibal, Huck, and Tom, which was the collection of unpublished fragmentary materials about Tom and Huck that Walter Blair had edited. And when I read them, I felt like I'd been given some amazing insight into the creative process that I had no idea existed before. And since then, what has kept me going is the combination of other scholars' research, and unpublished materials and letters and all of this biographical detail. This guy was a squirrel and he saved everything. And so it's like pulling back the curtain behind the imagination so that we can see that. And I am so excited by that because I think it's a great mystery. We'll never solve it, but it's pretty exciting to track it.
Why do you study Mark Twain?
Here's what I tell my students. First of all, in some ways, he is the history of the 19th century. Obviously, the Mississippi pilot, antebellum culture, and he wrote a book that named the Gilded Age, so he encapsulates so much history. But the second thing is that in some ways, he's every man and every woman, because you could read his life as a kind of journey to shake off prejudices. I think he's a guy that worked hard to try to do that, and that's a good model for anybody. Plus, he's damn funny.
Why do you work on Mark Twain?
Because I like to laugh. You want more than that? I'm serious. It makes me laugh. I enjoy it. It's fun. And fun is, you remember One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish? The end. I'm sure you've read it to your kids a million times. Today was, you see you've got me on camera. I can't remember the line. But anyway, basically, fun is good, says Dr. Seuss. And Mark Twain is fun. So that's why I study Mark Twain.
Why do you work on Mark Twain?
I work on Mark Twain because I learn something every day from him. There's nothing, no book by him I can open, no matter how many times I've read it, it won't teach me something new. He's the best writing teacher and best philosopher and best friend I can imagine.
Why do you work on Mark Twain?
To keep myself from going crazy and ending up in the nut house. Because the best way I know to keep my mind cleaned out and moving.